And I am live. I'm alive. I'm an adult of my spirit. I'm an adult of my mind. I'm an adult of my thoughts. I'm an adult of my body and of my love. And I love you, and I want to thank you for being here today. Those who are coming in now, and those who will be coming in later, and those who will be coming in months and years from now. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you listening and sharing this most important message that I'm going to be talking about today. Thoughts are intentions. Now, I've talked about thoughts. I've talked about protecting your thoughts. I've talked about in my shows about thoughts that are intentions. But in this 146th installment, I believe that it's something that we still have to continue to talk about because we are in that time. We're in that time. We're in that time where someone is here, Sophia, to warn us of what is going on. And one of the things is be careful of what you dwell on. Let me make an adjustment here. There we go. Yeah, you can see me a little bit here. Be careful of what you dwell on. We're in a time right now where this has all been foreseen. This has all been predicted. If you just go over the last 10 years, you can see what is going on that has been predicted a long time ago. If you haven't seen the talk on the Georgia Stones, you need to go and take a look at it because the predictions were made from that. And it was built in 1980. And the things that are being talked about is what's going on. So their whole expression is, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But ladies and gentlemen, we are there. We're on that bridge right now. We're on that bridge. And what is the agenda? The agenda is to control our thought. Control our thought. Another reminder, an idea or opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. We're being bombarded with what? You see, information, proclamations, but thought. What are some of the other words for thoughts? Well, some common synonyms of thought are conception, a concept, an idea, an impression, and notion. What is going on right now? We're being bombarded with concepts, with new ideas, with new impressions, with new notions. Conception. So how we concept it. Okay, we're not talking about conception and having a baby. Conception. Something is an idea that you have of it in your mind. Conception is the forming of an idea for something in your mind. Conception is the forming of an idea for something in your mind. The other fundamental consideration in the conception of a plan is function. Function. Finding what the function would, what it creates an intention. Okay, this is what I thought. This is why we have to be careful about how we think. I've said you are what you think about. And in the thinking, you are creating an intention. An intention is a mental state that represents a commitment to carrying out an action or actions in the future. Intention involves mental activities such as planning and forethought. What are they doing right now? They're creating and intention for all of us. Absolutely for all of us. And so now, to me, what came up is, as I was going through this, what are their intentions and what's the intention versus the motive? What's the motive? All right. Motive, a reason for doing something, especially one that is hidden or not obvious. Now, we've been talking about this. What is this intentional agenda, intentional motive? So the motive, achievement motives. This has all been planned, ladies and gentlemen. Everything that has been thrown at us has been planned. Oh, Mike, that's just not true. Well, you got to look at history, which we're going to go over now. Okay. So affiliation motives, aggression motives. And one of the ones, it's power motives. And that's what it is. Power motives is what's really going on here. Now, there's also something simple, like the curiosity motives, right? What do we, we're all curious. We all want to do something better for ourselves. So our motive, whether or not that is sincere, but first of all, it has to spark this curiosity. So we're all curious. But again, if you're in spiritual neutrality, you will have your mind at your higher self, your higher spiritual consciousness. Now, this one next is called desperation motives. Guys, the desperation motives right now are at the top, but it's just begun. You see people that are in desperate states. This morning, just on the news, a 19-year-old young man who'd made quite a bit of money off Instagram and took a picture of him in a Porsche and showing off his money. And just about 3 or 4 hours later, he was shot and blown away and robbed. And they took all his money and broke into his house. So we don't know what this desperation is. Today in my neighborhood, this morning, we get up. We just built these new Section 8 apartments, just opened. And someone this morning came by and fired off 16 rounds into the apartments, randomly in the apartments. What? I don't know. So now here's where we're at here right now, is in the political motives. What are the political motives? We've been being warned about this for a long time, ever since I was a kid. And that is what I see is what's the communist motives. We have now, this has come literally to the forefront. And if you don't know about communism, or you think it's some blissful thing, then you really haven't studied it. Because the number one, see, they have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps everywhere, every single time. All right. This is just communism, but it's all based on that. What's the first thing they do? Division motives. Their motive is to get the people divided, blaming one on the others. Right now, what is it? Blaming the ones who took the V's, blaming on the ones who haven't took the V's. This is splitting up the country right now. right now. All of a sudden, everything was over. As soon as it was over, everything got worse, and everything is getting worse. And number one, it is division. How does it start? It starts with a thought. Blame it on these guys. Blame it on that guy. Blame it on these people. Make someone the good guy, make someone the bad guy, and it changes every day. How do you do that? By controlling the thoughts. Where's the thoughts coming from? The media, the bought and paid media, who are run by lobbyists and people who have this agenda. How do you control the thoughts? By controlling the narrative. Today it's going to be like this. Tomorrow it's going to be like that. The next day it's going to be like this. The next will be like that. What is going on right now is this bombardment of information that first and foremost makes you confused. So there's a huge headline one day where you're thinking about that, a shooting of some kind. The very next day, then it's talking about the V's. Then the next day, it's talking about how the political parties are fighting amongst each other, about what's these bills that are being passed. So what is the number one goal motive? To divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Let's go by the word conquer. Now, some conquer is sometimes confused with concur. Okay. So by not standing your ground, by not understanding about everything that affects you as well as your neighbor, which is really where we're at. I picked up my dog from the groomer who hadn't heard about the 16 shots fired. This is like a Mayberry. This place is so small. They hadn't heard of it. They went into shock. You don't blame them. They were elderly people. This occurred literally a couple miles down the road. So what's it very important? Well, it's very important to know that both of these political parties are on the same side. I know, Mike, that's just not true. One doesn't believe in abortion, the other one doesn't, this one and that. Listen, we could spend a whole afternoon on that, on how each party has a little something for each person. But you have to pick one side or the other. One side is, and each one is, pick your poison. All right? Now, you don't believe me? I mean, I can understand, especially if you're younger, especially if you haven't studied real history, the real political history. So I'm going to go over my life. My life, which is, this is my 64th year. 64 completion. I'm going into the 64 and a half. So I'll be 65 next month. Let's talk about what I believe we're at. We are teeter-totters. Well, what do you know? One second here. Teeter-totter. Now, a lot of you young people probably don't even know what a teeter-totter is. But now, when you were born in my age, you definitely know what a teeter-totter was and what a seesaw. What does it go? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's what's going on with us. Let's just go over the history of since I was born. When I was born, Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, what was he? He was a Republican, right? Who was next? Kennedy. What was he? A Democrat. Then he was assassinated. Johnson. What was he? A Democrat. He didn't decide to run. Who was next? President Nixon. What was he? A Republican. Now, he also had to resign, and Ford ran, okay? So Ford ran, and he not ran, but it fell into him, then he ran, but he didn't get elected. And who was next? Jimmy Carter. Who was he? Democrat. Who was next? Reagan. A Republican. He was in for 8 years. Then George Bush, who George Bush, by the way, was in charge of everything. CIA, Council of Foreign Affairs. Okay. This guy was in and had everything in, plus his family, Prescott Bush, was put in jail for financing the Nazi Party. So now he ran again. All right. So this was the longest period right here, right? 12 years Republican, right? But then he ran, and what happened? Clinton, what was he? A Democrat. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Who was next after him? Now we got another Bush. What is he? A Republican. After him, who was next? Obama, a Democrat. Who was next? Trump. What was he? A Republican. Who was next? Biden. Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. All of us are on a seesaw. Now, who it comes down to? Whose side am I on? Whose side am I on? Yeah, I bet you're asking that. Hey, Alpough, whose side are you on? I'm on my side. Yeah, I'm on my side. And I'm on your side. See, we can't hide anymore. You have got to understand your surroundings better than you ever have now. If you haven't looked into gematria, if you haven't looked into history, if you haven't studied what a lobbyist is, you can see that everyone is battling, and we're in the what? We're in the middle. So we can't hide and we can't divide, because we're on their ride and we don't know the true destination. So where do we keep going here? Well, we're looking for wisdom. Wisdom to have open eyes, to see the real reality. See, we're on the bridge now, guys. We're on the bridge. Which way are we going? That is a decision that we all have to make. And that's why Sophia's here, has made herself known now, because the world has gotten to that place. So the Holy Spirit has a name. Her name is Sophia, and she deserves to have her name. Did I say, when I went back here, I didn't say President Dem. I said President Biden. He had a title, and that is his name. Everyone, if you have a title, whether or not you're a DJ, your name, you got a name, DJ Amanda. See what I'm saying? How'd you like that one in there? So, let's see what we got here. Some comments. Great topic. Thank you. If someone pops into your mind, does it mean they are thinking about you? Not necessarily. Okay. And I think that it doesn't mean it's not true. Okay. I'm not saying that. I had it just happen last week. I mean, literally just happened. So I do believe that it happens. I think it happens more than we realize, but it's not necessary. So it might be popping in your mind so that it'll pop into their mind. Okay. So it's kind of goes both ways, both sides. I hope that answers your question. If you see someone in a dream, is it really their spirit talking to you? That's a great question. Wow, what a great setup. And I've really been looking forward to answering that. So if you see someone in a dream, is it really their spirit talking to you? I can say yes and no. You see, number one, yes, we'll say yes for just, the thought that it can happen. But it also can be that you're working something out in that dream, okay? That you're actually working out with them, okay? That's happened to me, and that's a great question. And so that doesn't mean that when you're having that dream, they're having that dream. Now, it is possible, okay? Anything's possible within this realm here. But usually, if I'm going to go what the top one is, it's usually you're working out something with them. All right. Now, if you work that out, all right, again, you are what you think about, you are what your intention, a dream and that intention could put it out there to bring that person also in. Let's see. Okay. If we don't stop abusing animals, destroying an environment, and using plastic, there will be another mass extinction event on the horizon. I think that there's a merit in that. I think that we're crossing. We're not that where quite yet. Okay, so I'll just say, as an example, is this Sodom and Gomorrah? Okay, so a lot of people are saying, is this Sodom and Gomorrah? But if you know your scripture, you'll know that Lot said, if there's 20 righteous people, will you destroy it? No. If there's 15, 10, 9, 8, if there's one, no. So I believe that this is not quite, I believe we're going towards it, like crossing the bridge over, but we're not quite there because there's still so many people that are about love, that aren't where they're led by their private parts, that their private parts. I want to make sure about that. They're not led by just about being power, about the money, about dominating over people. So I really believe that this world is the majority of loving people. And I don't believe that it's crossed quite over that. And so, but ask me in November of 2023. Ask me there. I'll know absolutely by then. Tracy, Sophia's wisdom knows your environment, not just your home, but everywhere, because she is everywhere. Yes, Tracy, agreed. Total domination of your spirit and thoughts, mind control of the masses. I think that was the actual definition of what this political parties. Remember, the whole world, you don't have to believe me, okay? You don't have to believe me, all right? But we're heading for a one world government, okay? Do your homework. Don't believe me. Everything I'm saying here, except for Sophia, because you probably don't even know what Sophia is. And again, you're getting to know me. The more you get to know me, I believe the more you're going to know and believe that Sophia is real, okay? So, and that's why she's here. Because of the total domination it's in. They got us by the what? They got us by our health. They got us by our money. They got us divided. They are controlling the narrative. And that's why thoughts are intentions. So if they keep honest about these thoughts on where they want us to go, which is divide each other. Families are dividing. Friends are dividing. Churches are dividing. Everything, your workplace, it's coming down. And it's being controlled by a narrative. Divine Mother, Sophia, the spirit of wisdom. And when you see divide and conquer. And you may not think you're being conquered, but you're concurring. Without action, without speaking, you concur. I concur. Amanda, things aren't so divided in countries like Greece. Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, that's another thing. America is isolated. We're in our own bubble. And unless you get out there and travel the world, then it's very difficult to know. That's why it's so cool that Amanda, darling, is out there in the world experiencing it, going around to all these countries in Europe. It's fascinating. And her travels have taken her to Chile, and she's going to Australia. And wow, I mean, just to be able to be young again and travel the world and have fun and continue to grow. Where are you? Got to give her a shout out, Amanda, darling. I think that's a picture of you in Greece. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I don't want to say that is. And of course, this is when Amanda and I met, my good friend. So the main thing is, oh, here's a good one too. Hungary. Hungary, great country. People get along. They close their borders. They don't let people in. They're one of the few countries that didn't in Europe. And all the other countries are paying for it. But they wanted to keep their people safe. But guess what? Biden has gone after him because he wants him to open his borders and just let anybody in, like we're doing. And that's going to be another show here to talk about the open borders right now. There's 1 million people darn near that's come in already. So, you know, we don't know how that's going to affect us. Again, I don't want to go into that. Not today. I want to talk to you still more about your thoughts and intentions and being smart. Know both sides. If you know both sides, you'll know they don't care about you. They don't. The sooner we know that, the better off we are. You know, even if you see right now, I'm going to end it here right now on this one note. You see the blue pills, a lot of the blue pills are coming over to the right pills, and you see the red pills are coming over to the left pills. All kind of meeting in some kind of a gray area, but believe me, they're all on the same team. You may not know it. Okay, they may not just say it, but that's how they're playing it. So I'm going to leave you with that. Coming up to my time frame here, 30 minutes, and I just really appreciate you. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Tracy, for coming in, putting your comments. The people who are coming in, please leave a comment. You know, I love that you ask questions, and it challenges me to give you the words of Sophia. I love it. And I love you. And I'll see you tomorrow. High noon Pacific. Thanks again. Love you. Peace out.